Outbounding by Skip Miller. It's a great book. I read it not from cover to cover, but I read select chapters. There are still lots of great ideas that I got out of it, so I want to share with you some of the ideas that I got out of this book, and hopefully you'll be motivated to read it. So let's go to table of contents. Actually, recently I learned a better way to read books is just going to table of contents, picking up select chapters and then reading from there and then kind of filling the gaps from the book. But first, I want to show you something really good about this book, something that I love and that, like, for me, a hallmark of a good book. It's look at this starting point, this story, and you start reading this book, and here's a story about Jerry and Jennifer. They're talking, they are friends, neighbors, and they're sales reps at different companies. And when a book has a story like this, a storyline through an entire book, it makes book a fascinating read. Right now, you're not like, oh, I should do this. This is the right way. This is what I could implement. No, it's a story. It's fascinating. Oh yeah, we can connect with those characters. And look, when there is a storyline like that, and its storyline implement kind of intertwined with advices from Skip Miller, and kind of with theory and practical advice. But when there is a storyline, the book is a great read. And that's why, if you like good books, this is guaranteed to be a good book because there is this storyline. Now, let's go back to table of contents. And here in preface, something that I found interesting. Actually, I found this book by listening to a podcast where Skip was talking about it. And something resonated here with me as uh, it's this description of the problem. Why do we need to do outbound sales? And why we don't do outbound sales? And by the way, I come from a background where I started in sales by being a door knocker, so I am hardwired to do outbound. But at the same time, I've seen my friends who are really good networkers, who are really good at building relationship with customers. And I thought, hey, that way is also a great way. Also, there are inbound leads, like when a marketing team throws me inbound leads, they convert really well. If it's qualified inbound lead, then it's really good lead. And there's no, like, I would always prefer that inbound lead when it comes. But Skip Miller kind of describes this really well. What he says is that that inbound sales in recent years have become 40 to 100% of companies' sales lead generation efforts. So right now, all companies that are not startups that have marketing budgets, they create inbound funnels, and they have the capability of fully engaging their sales reps with those inbound leads. And that is fantastic. That's a great place to be as a salesperson. But unfortunately, this flow of inbound leads is drying up, right? And there was something here. There are quarters when you are full cycle sales rep. There are quarters when you can fill your budget, when you can hit your sales target with those inbound leads. But there are quarters when you can't. And unfortunately, what makes this problem worse is that the sales reps who've been trained on inbound leads, they do not know how to do outbounding. They do not know how to prospect. Now, I've been in a slightly different situation. I wasn't getting too many inbound leads, but at the same time, the culture in the companies where I worked for as a B2B sales rep was that, you network, you talk to the same customers over and over and over, you get a referral or you do repeat business, you build relationships, right? So that was the main training there. And again, it's good. It gives you 60, 70, 80% of your budget, but you rarely can hit your entire sales target with just inbound networking or referrals. You have to go outbound, and there is no skills, there is no training in outbound sales. And obviously, when you're not trained, what you do is you try it once, you try it twice, you realize how freaking hard it is. And because you're not doing it correctly, you're not getting the results you want, and then you just give up. So here you go, we have a problem, right? The problem is that we need to supplement our lead generation efforts with outbound sales. And look, most of us have not been properly trained on how to do it. So even if we do the effort, we botch the effort. Now, let's go to table of contents and jump straight to the solution. I'm the kind of person, again, who reads the book by looking at table of contents and digging out what I like here. So here's the solution, and the solution that Skip Miller has is comprehensive, right? So let me just find here. Yeah, so here you go. He has entire email sequence that you can create. He describes how to make good emails, and really, so this is an example of a bad email, and here there are some examples of great emails and referral emails, and somewhere here a social email. Here I saw something like yet another email template. Really, if you want to build a good cold email outbound campaign, all it takes is just looking at this template, seeing what resonates with you, and then adjusting those templates to whatever makes sense to you, adjusting it to your situation, and that's it. You can go, you can look at what's bad, look at what's good, take those templates from this book and just hit the road running with them, even if you haven't done outbound sales at all. And if you've done them before, like, look, that's all I do day and night, outbound sales. That's what I train my clients to do, outbound sales. But still, looking at this emails, I'm like, yeah, this is great. Here's a good idea. Here's another good idea. So let me just see. Oh yeah, so also here he talks about email cadences, so how to create a story in the sequence of follow-up emails, which is also a fantastic topic, so you don't just think of sending one cold email. After cold emails, he goes and talks about cold calling. Let me see if I can find that somewhere. See how many really interesting cold email templates that I would love to just go through all of them one by one and see what I can implement. Now, if you want to go one step further, and if you want to do cold calling works, by the way. It's magic. It depends on the industry, but in some industries, phone call is the fastest way to get to your prospect and to get sales. So now he has reasons to call a prospect. I think there is a script here. Okay, here is a script of cold calling. So all of this with cold calling, again, you can just grab that script, write it as a set of bullet points, and hit the road running with cold calling. So that is a how-to from this book, and it's practical, so it's beautiful. Now, another great how-to that I'm implementing in my game as well, in my outbound game. Here is really nice tracking sheet where you just say, hey, this is how I'm reaching out to this person. And I have my own version, but what I find absolutely crucial is track my outbound efforts. So on day 1, I send 1 email. Day 3, I send email 2. On day 5, I send email 3. This is really close to what I do. And you can send voicemails. Great idea. Some people don't know they can send voicemails. Voicemails work. Personal call, well, Skip suggests us to do some door knocking. By the way, that works as well. So, my point here is that tracking sheets are fantastic. That is another great tool. Now, and one more gold nugget from this book, something that I got from a different book, but it's just a part of what I do right now, is somewhere here, and I already forgot where it is. Okay, let me just do a search function. So what Skip Miller talks about is a power hour. Power hour. Here you go, power hour. And what the power hour is, the idea is that we always postpone outbound efforts. They're stressful, they're difficult. But the power hour is just saying, hey, I block a 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, right, for outbound sales, for outbounding. Well, I call it prospecting. But when you block that, when you have that time block in place, then you are guaranteed to do outbounding and generate leads that way. There are many other nuggets of wisdom in this book, so let me just, how do we close this? Go back to table of contents And look, I didn't even go at what's happening in this part one. And here is a great thing about customers' buying journey, uh, preparation, everything else. There was another great topic here, which is uh, uh, how dividing decision makers into above the line buyers and below the line buyers. But those are kind of not so much, I would say, related to outbound sales, but more general sales wisdom that is here in this book. So not only if you read this book, if you jump on this book and start reading it, not only it's a comprehensive guide to starting up an outbound sales campaign, outbound sales strategy, but also easy read and at the same time lots of little nuggets of sales wisdom. I don't know if Skip mentions it here, but yeah, just also realize that setting up outbound sales from scratch, it takes work. And even if Skip makes it easy, if you want to implement this from scratch, just prepare that will take you 3 to 6 months of dedicated effort. That will pay it off down the road, but prepare for 3 to 6 months to implement everything here. Obviously, if you're doing it already, this book will just help you to make your skills sharper and to make you better at outbounding.